Alright, people, we have a dilemma. You know how much a high point would normally be, right? Let's say for the 9mm 149, 159, maybe 169. For up, the 45, you're gonna pay about close to $200 for a 45. So let's check this out. 380 high point at the gun shop local here. I'm not gonna put them on blast. 389 for the 380. 45, 349. The 9mm, nowhere to be seen. I asked him how much it would be for a 9mm. These are $100 guns. $150 for the 45 that are going for twice the price. Everything is jacked, and except for my one FFL dealer, which will always notify me of a price change on a weapon, which would be right now the rifles, the ones that are in the limelight. Not even gonna say the models because you already know, and if you don't know, well, you will by the time it gets said and done. But yes, this is, I went shopping and actually went and looked at their Berettas. Any Ruger, it was up, like the price difference was like nuts, like comparative to what I could get from my dealer. And yeah, I might have to wait. Like today was Saturday. I'm making this video on my birthday, as a matter of fact. It's 12:30. Thank you to me. I'm 29 years old. Wow. But anyways, yeah, like on their cars, and if it's a big name brand, Smith and Wessons, the M&Ps, if they had them, Glocks, even the Glocks were up in price, and those are so plentiful around any kind of dealer. If you're gonna sell guns, you got to have some Glocks up in the shelf. People want to take a look at those when they pass by them. Even if you only have a certain amount of like firearms in your shop at that point, you're just getting started, whatever the situation is, there's some Glocks in there, they're gonna want to take a look at them, depending on the price. Now when you see 729, 740, you kind of just don't even, you move on to the next shelf, and oh lord, there's another section of Glocks there. And then you move on to the next, and it's like, wow, that section is Glocks and Springfields. Alright, and then the Springfields start, and then the Kimbers start, and everything goes from, Jesus Christ, like if I wanted, let's say for instance, the Sigma 9mm, like, it was $300 and change at this same dealer at one point. I believe it's a 13-round magazine. I want to say so with that 9mm. But it was not there, and they were wanting like $460 or $440, something like that for it. And I was like, are you serious? And they were like, yeah, but we got the new one for $369. I'm like, what I know the deal when they say the new one, which is the new model they came out with, and just messed around with some stuff, and it's kind of different, but a trigger job on it, in which if you just go to YouTube, you can watch how you can do a trigger pull or a trigger job on it. But my friend, he did end up selling his because of the trigger, and he plans on buying, actually he just got the Ruger LC9, and is really happy with it. And you know, he was talking about going and get the new Smith & Wesson that's supposed to be like the Sigma, but the actual good shit, and doesn't have a crazy trigger on it. And you know, he wants that in 45 instead of the 9mm. So I don't know what the mag capacity is on that one. I'd imagine it's anywhere from 7, 8, or 10 shots, something like that, up to God knows what. You know what I mean? What they're doing with the 45 ACPs now. But anyways, yeah, they had plenty of AR-15s. You know what I mean? And like, there weren't on those guns. They really were like, you know, I've seen crazy videos where people have been videotaping auctions on Bushmasters going for upwards of $4,000 and stuff. In Florida, where I'm based, I don't see that. Like, I mean, yeah, the handguns have definitely gone up. You can notice that. But when you look at the rifles, like, you can go get a 10-22 for $150 to $300, depending on how nice you want it. You can go get a pump action shotgun, double barrel shotgun, same price. And well, you know, you're gonna spend a little bit more on those. 300, 350. You're walking out with a nice shotgun, and you know, a lot of them have breech muzzles and all kinds of crazy crap on them. You know, I'll give them that little edge there, because that's why I didn't want to completely bash them and say their name and everything. But they have so much, you know, but they definitely went through their list of firearms that were handguns and said, well, we need to, because you can see where they'd taken permanent marker and made a new price. So God knows what was there, unless you really like get it in your hand and look, and you can see the intention of the original numbers. But even still, with magic marker, you can change the actual numbers and everything, and then go over it, and no one will ever know. But regardless of that, the rifles are actually pretty good amount still left on the shelves. You know, the freaked outness is kind of going subtle, not in the way that we want, of course, and that would be in the front of the limelight and the social media and everything, but they are available, and you know what I mean. I don't have to spend $3,000 to get a Bushmaster. I spend about, I don't want to say a number because y'all will fucking freak out on me, and I don't want all that shit on here, but it's not really nuts. I seen a couple today, you know, just not bare bone Bushmasters, and I've seen the Smith & Wesson M&Ps and stuff. Their rifles are really nice, and their handguns are really nice. Smith has done a good job on their models in the last couple of years. You can tell, like, starting off with the Sigma was one of the models that they really started to step it up. And straight out of the box, you know, it's a shooting gun. It'll split hairs, and the Sigma really will. And once you get used to the trigger, you can split hairs with it. You just have to get used to it. And a lot of people don't want to have to get used to anything when they pull it out of the box. They want it to fire, and within a box, they should, or want to feel that, at least feel comfortable with keeping it around to protect. You know what I mean? You're gonna pull a gun out of the box. Now another thing too is, I know you guys have probably never heard of them. They're called Sky Industries, spelled SCCY. I owned one of these about 3 years ago. Mine was spelled with the K instead of the SCC. It was just Sky, SKYY. And that gun was going to end up being a collector's item or whatever, but I needed something, I needed money at the time, so I had to part ways with the gun. Regardless, they're selling that gun for $305 or something like that. And then you go over to Keltec and look at, like, their 9mm are all over YouTube, and I personally know one. I think it was the PM9 or whatever Caltech. It's the green and the camo looking 9mm. I think it's the PM9. Um, I really have to get back on that with you. I really don't want to say 100% that is the gun, but you know, I've seen so many videos with the fluff and buff. You really do have to fluff and buff a Caltech pistol. He sent it back 4 times. When he got it back, he decided never to fire it and to sell it as is, brand new. They gave him a brand new upper and a lower and to start all over again. And this was the 4th time. And he had the 2nd time they did the same thing and gave him another gun. So what you're seeing here is the same modulation of bullshit. And he got tired of it, and I told him, dude, you know, the gun will sell though, you know, you could take it to a gun shop and get some money back out of it, you know, because they're known for their customer service, which they have to use so much because obviously you see. And he was telling me also that, you know, with the shipping, they wouldn't take care of the shipping except for sending it back. So if it had to go in the mail, FedEx, he was paying for it, not getting reimbursed. And nothing like an extra magazine or a letter of appreciation or anything like this, because God, they deal with so many of the returns. They want to talk about my Tauruses and their returns. You're ridiculous. Or you won't even go there on Taurus against Caltech semi-automatic pistols. I've owned 3 of them. None of them have misfired. Oh yeah, by the way, misfired, ejected, and misejected, or did nothing wrong. And I had 9 magazines for each of those guns. And at the time, you know, at one point I only had 2 or 3. Every time I wanted to go shoot that gun, it would go off every round and it would go exactly where I wanted to. Hair splitter. And that's because I practiced with it. It was a gun, and now I have my Slim, in which I'm really happy with. That's the gun that you've seen on there. That's my carry side right now. I have a couple new additions coming soon. But you know, when you talk about customer service, 1, you talk about the actual firearm, 2, it needs a fluff and buff out of the box. We'll just end it there. If it needs you to polish the feed ramps, re-oil it, knock off any burrs with any kind of like sanding or anything like that. I know many high points that don't need a fluff and buff, and they work out of the box, like literally. I can't believe it. They had so much problems with the gun, you know. They go for good money, and they're right there in the line with, you know, all the good the smaller compact 9mm that people want to carry. They're small. But the Sky Industries, I will tell you right now from experience that is a good gun. I had that gun for protection for over 3-4 years. So I cannot say that gun never would not work ever, because it never misfired. Anytime I took it anywhere, miss anything. So that price range, and then to pay more money for a Caltech that it needs a fluff and buff, fuck that, man. The Sky Industries, if you're looking for a little bit over $300, like $320, that's what I think that gun was actually there for. I've seen one. They come in a first, second generation, and the second generation comes with an aluminum slide, and the other one's blued. The second one is no safety at all on it. It's just run and go. Really easy to break down. Just pop a pin out and slide it off. You know, you're good to go. If you got a penny in your pocket or a shell, you can break that gun down and like, bam. It's really easy, and it's really a lot more reliable than a Kel-Tec, and it shoots a lot better. That was another thing too that he was talking about, his Kel-Tec, that when it did go off, it was he never got enough time to mess with it to even try and get it dialed in. You know, he was constantly, you know, the second time it was physically broken. He said, like, it broke the whole slide, had broke the handle and the back and all the way down towards the trigger guard. So he had to send it back and get a whole new gun. Or they sent him the lower, but then they told him that they found something inside, so just take another gun. That is like, that's what High Point does. They don't want to hear stories. They don't want to hear shit. If you have a problem with the High Point, they'll usually ask you to send it in, and that's the end of story. You'll get a new gun. They don't take the time to smack the pin out of it and actually check. I really don't think they do. I think they just send you a new gun. Now, if you left a mark on it to see, that'd be one thing, but I know from past experience with a couple of buddies of mine, they just got brand new guns, and one out of two will get a good one. The other person, you just got problem after problem after problem with it when it comes to High Points. But hey, what the fuck do I know about the new High Points? I don't know if they changed any shit. Have they? It looks the same to me. I held one today. It's still for like a shit brick, and you could beat someone to death with it. God forbid you ran out of bullets or it wouldn't fire, and the magazine alone, they would need staples to close their face. It's a big chunk of metal, especially a 45. Wow. But anyways, you guys, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna enjoy my birthday. I try to tomorrow. Today. It's 12:45 a.m. and just enjoying my messages that I'm getting on Facebook, and hopefully I'll get some off here. Thank you guys. Have a good day. I will.